but it is not possible to have a bounty of 3 after this. Okay, here are the specialists. Dillo got some sledge packs, but he does have supply ball crawl, which he does like to open with the balls.
Yeah, Flower Fairy's definitely been favoring the tarantulas. Wouldn't be surprised to see
Yeah,
the training
training.
specialist picked.
But Typhoon is his favorite. Don't know if he... Oh, he takes the cost control. He's also
Wow.
been liking sabers, right? He's gone for saber specialist a couple of times.
He
So maybe he
has,
likes that
but
unit, but he
hasn't,
hasn't
like,
ever committed into the saber, so it is strange.
for those of
And
you that haven't seen, there's a unique perk of Saber Specialist this patch, which is all of the Sabertooth technologies cost 50 less if you are a Sabertooth Specialist.
Dillo opts for the aerial spec Hound Sledge. This might be the pack I would have taken. I'm liking Hound Sledge the most of the Hound combos if you want to actually play Hound, because Sledge is just like a stable unit that can protect your Hounds pretty well. And in this matchup in particular, it is the cost control crawlers, 246 HP, Hounds hit for 267. So that will be a one-shot matchup. But
And that could
Flower
be a big
Fairy...
deal.
Yeah, Flower Fairy seeing the Hounds from the enemy, Hound Sledge, wastes no time getting those arc lights up. And we are very likely to see Charge Shot arc lights in this game.
True. We won't see it round 2 because it's more expensive than it was in the previous patch. But
Yep.
we could see it as early as round 3 from Flower Fairy.
Well, it's cost control, right? And Flower Fairy has 100 floated. So
That's
we'll
true.
have like $600 next turn. So it could be
That's
Charge
true.
Shot
Could
plus
be
2
round
more.
2. And that could be a very powerful round 2 power spike if Flower Fairy decides to go for it.
And these sabers actually looking pretty darn good. Just tanking up all of the attacks and not quite dying.
Interesting that Dillo decides to go for a center aggro deploy.
Yeah,
That
symmetric
means that he
center.
splits his army and doesn't kill anything, really, any
Yeah.
of the large units.
Yeah, if you could shift this whole army just a little bit to the left or right, Dillo might even win that round.
Exactly. Wasp Swarm is not skipped this time.
Wasp Swarm showing up once again on round 2. Flower Fairy saying, hey, you know that Wasp Swarm card actually looked pretty good earlier. Let me take that against this aggro player.
We've seen either Wasp Swarm or Underground Crawler like almost every game on round 2. And
yeah, it's been an insane series, if that tilts you, which I will admit it tilts me. But Dillo is the aerial spec, sees the improved Wraith, and says, yeah, that looks good.
Well, also says it beats the Wasp Swarm, right?
Yeah, it beats Wasp Swarm. It beats everything currently on the board. So even if you just like lose tower to the Wasps, like it'll be fine. But Flower Fairy perhaps respecting the enemy specialist, respecting the card, throwing down a singular marksman. This is what we sometimes call the copium marksman.
Indeed. Surely a level 1 marksman can kill an improved Wraith.
Well, if you get the debuff. Though Dillo, going to save it for later, takes a Phoenix for now.
Maybe indicating that he wants to go for a very air-heavy comp later in the game. Starting with the Phoenixes, get them levels, maybe later take some Wraiths. And then if you take Charge Shot Arclight, maybe you're stuck shooting ground units that you don't care about.
Yeah. And I don't know if Dillo had like a read that it wouldn't be Wasp Swarm after not seeing it previously, or he just only defended middle with the missile. But it is not what happened, and he will just go down to this Wasp Swarm.
Yeah, cost control as a specialist, some people call it like the spell specialist. The extra credits that it gives you allow you to take every spell that's offered if you want.
Yeah, so pretty clean round for Flower Fairy. Dillo was able to kill one Sabertooth with that Phoenix this time. I guess rating that as the biggest problem. And here is the Rhino Assault.
More spells.
Flower Fairy gonna take it and just put it on the other side, keep him guessing.
Indeed. At least for defending intel and defending against the rhino drop, you can be fairly certain it's not in the middle this time.
Yeah. Unless Flower Fairy was like trying to steal the econ, take the missile.
True.
Like
Minus
if you
50.
think they're gonna play around Rhino drop on one of the sides. It's a very strange move, but it could happen. And Dillo grabbing the haste module now will take the improved Wraith with it. It's a great item for Wraith. And just putting it on the side where the marksman is not.
These newly placed crawlers are going to be able to delay the Rhino for quite a while, like 20 seconds or so.
Yeah, it takes a while.
Yeah, Dillo's hoping that's enough time to get in towards the tower. Maybe not quite.
Yeah, Rhino takes the tower down. Flower Fairy has taken both enhancements at this point, just using the cross-control money to make up for the cross-control debuff.
True.
Will the Rhino take this missile? Oh, it's close. Oh, it's just pixels away.
Oh, no.
My god.
That's amazing. It's so perfect for Flower Fairy there.
The tower debuff perfectly timed for the marksman to kill the Wraith when the Wraith got its weapons locked on.
Yeah. The marksman was not copium this round.
Yeah. So Mustangs show up, Flower Fairy going to pick it right away. Interestingly, Wasp pack costs 150 there, Mustang costs 100. That's slightly crazy to me, but
yeah,
whatever. Moving on.
That Mustang pack is incredible. You might even consider it if you're Dillo, because there's so many drops that come in on your backline that you might want to deal with something like Wasps.
Yeah,
go for the Phantom Rays. I'm going for a Phantom Ray Wraith board at the moment.
Yeah, just heavy air, interestingly, and going to put the deep Wraith flank in again. This is perhaps something he's been cooking up. Will force Flower Fairy to play more. Yeah, game one, it worked very well. Flower Fairy's going to have to play more into this flank once again. But Flower Fairy not messing around. Anti-air on the marksman right away.
Indeed. Sees the Wraith, expects a commitment to the Wraith from last game. Especially if you're aerial specialist, you can often feel safe clicking that anti-air button. Your opponent loses out on their specialist if they sell out all their air units.
And I think a cost control anti-air mark should still one-shot a air spec Phantom Ray, which a very rare breakpoint to matter. Yeah, it does.
Interesting. Yeah, it could be that Dillo needs to start thinking about some of those tower enhancements to fix these breakpoints.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what the damage is that the marksmen have on it. Some crawlers getting in on the left, protecting this Wraith though, this low health Wraith.
Indeed.
That is a fortified tower.
The Phoenix is just stuck on those last two crawlers.
Yeah.
Oof.
So pretty solid round for Flower Fairy.
The anti-air marksman looked really good that round.
Yeah.
And they all leveled up.
Skips all around. Flower Fairy just using the cost control to get some critical text before Dillo has, get lots of deploys out, and just build a very stable defensive board around these towers. Fitting to the playstyle of tower turtling. And it's going to beacon the Mustang away. Just get me away from that Wraith. I don't want it. I gotta be free.
And he says the cost control money, let's see, by 6 archetypes by round 5. We're definitely going to be able to clear those crawlers and get locks in the air units with the A marksman.
So Dillo this round picking range on the Wraith to contest those Mustangs a little better and clear chaff, and buys Wasps. That unlock is free. The primary purpose of the Wasps is to beat chaff against these anti-air marksmen. Sort of force them to lock the Wasps early.
Indeed.
And it's more development into this flank.
The other thing is improved Wraith has exactly the same range as Phantom Ray, so it's nice to
Oh yeah.
have the Wraith be a little bit safer behind the Phantom Rays once Fire Fury gets to the point of targeting those units instead of the Wasps.
And that beacon was effective. It saved all but 4 of the Mustangs that were initially targeted by the Wraith, and then the Mustangs have been doing a lot. Number 2 damage for the round so far.
That said, there's still a Wraith alive. Can they get the tower and save it? Oh, very good.
Yep, just in time.
Dillo. Finally a tower timing that kind of favors Dillo.
I think Flower Fairy might still have this with the remaining Mustangs, though.
Oh, very close.
Nope, the one Phoenix. This round doing quite well.
Zooming in on the last remaining Phoenix.
Melting Point, Sandworm, Fort.
Had a choice of giants there. Both players decide on a different giant.
Yeah, Melter for Flower Fairy is another unit that can deal with Wraiths effectively. Good unit against a push once you click the diffraction.
Yeah, you can only imagine that diffraction is coming out eventually on Flower Fairy's side, but it is quite expensive to get into the diffraction, so it will be a few rounds, but
yeah,
Flower
it's a
Fairy
cheap
is
tech
healthy
itself,
enough
but
to wait.
range is usually required.
Yeah, that's true.
And
you need an expensive giant, you need range, and you need energy diffraction.
Dillo gonna go ahead and play 3 missiles to play around this wasp swarm. He does place one of them within the circle, so that will kill all the wasps. But that is quite the expense.
Flower Fairy going for some tempo too. Missiling 3 packs of crawlers on the flank.
Including a new one. I guess the missile would have hit the wasp otherwise.
That's true. But maybe he already had a missile for that wasp. Oh, that's what you meant. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah. One of the crawlers was new. And
no, it didn't get all the wasp.
Oh, and the wasp squinks one more missile. Yeah, classic. It's just the way it works. And anti-air on the Mustangs to further deal with some of these units, but the worm, can it take tower? It's very close.
It found
Melter
the tower.
will go down.
But these marksmen are locked on.
Improved Wraith doing pretty well to clear, but it's not enough. This far side from Flower Fairy, he's just developed it to be stable on that side, but those units keep winning every round because they're just the last alive, and they are leveling.
More spells. With the Rhino Drop coming back too, Rhino Drop is very hard to defend against here.
Rhino Drop plus Orbital. Flower Fairy also has the option in some spots maybe to Goomba Stomp with the Rhinos, although I think everything you would do it against is healthy enough not to die. Oh, does elect to Goomba the Wraith. It won't kill, but it'll do good damage to it.
Oh, maybe?
Changing the mind. Oh, Goomba the flank Wraith, yeah. Nope.
Oh. Okay. Maybe we'll stay there.
And we see oil from Dillo just against this far side.
And I was checking Dillo's worm text does not have Sandstorm. Sometimes people like to play Sandstorm with air comps because it can force the enemy anti-air units to lock onto the worm instead of whatever air unit they're currently shooting.
Yep, running Strike instead. And it is bubble time to play around this orbital. It's a bit harder for Dillo to place bubbles.
Air units can't be shielded from orbital in 1v1, unfortunately.
Yeah. Can they in a different mode?
I think the AI can do it in survival mode with their
yes.
senior like overlords.
Yeah. So all of the wraiths going down except for this one in the middle. There were balls, but they're not here anymore.
Yeah, Dillo placed ball on the flank actually died to a missile immediately.
Yeah,
And
and
that's
Worm goes
game.
down to the Melter this time. And that is game. The bounty is up to 3. And Dillo has to win this next game to claim it and bring it to a final game for the pass through to next week.
Yeah, it looked like Fire Fairy was pretty much in control the entire time. The Sledgehammer Hound start didn't get anywhere, built some air units, and then immediately got the Mustang drop into A Marksman, and the air units didn't really get anywhere either from there on.
Yeah, sometimes that's the danger of air spec is you have aerial specialist to get your air units up, and then your opponent has aerial specialization on their units to kill all of your air units, and it's very efficient. And Dillo not liking the sledges on offer for the aggro. And I
And
think the
Fire
other
Fairy?
one was
Oh, sorry.
supply hound ball. Maybe not liking the hound either.
No, I think he had Ball Crawler. I might be mixing up the games.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I might be. I don't know.
I'm not a huge fan of Hound Sledge actually, because I only like Hounds in aggro, and I think Sledgehammers are pretty useless in aggro.
Mm,
But I think it
yeah,
would have gone much smoother for him in the early game if he had gone for an asymmetric deployment instead of just going in the middle.
yeah, yeah. The round one really went poorly. the both sabers just living on a sliver of HP, killing everything on the board.
Yeah. And Fire Fairy's bounty up to 3 wins in a row.
Trying to make it 4.
Trying to make it 4 in the learners bracket. Dillo has the opportunity to turn it around to a Flower Fairy to make it out of the Group D group of death. It's really brutal to be down in the learners bracket there. You have to play so many more games than if you just go 2-0.
Yeah,
Like
it's so
Shang
nice and
Shang,
easy
just
when you go 2-0.
get out of there in like 1 hour.
Yeah, clean, easy.
Saying that as somebody that has never gone 2-0, I was always coming up through
Yeah.
the lower bracket in my MAG1 experience.
Yeah, I've gone 2-0 twice, and then the one other time I you eliminated me, but then
And then you came
Guzzle, I
back.
think, dropped, and I had a best of 3 against Steel Sane to come back.
Yeah. I eliminated you, I eliminated Flower Fairy, B-Man. Lots of big names in these tournaments. Then you get to play more games. Maybe you want to play more games. Maybe that's fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
Alright, we're
definitely want to
getting
see more games.
into game 2 of this best of 3 between Dillo and Flower Fairy. What do you
Some
think of these units?
Yeah, so Dillo has a couple of ball packs that he could take, maybe some hounds. No goes for the saber and Flower Fairy taking the marksman spec ball crawl. I would expect this to be defensive balls.
Marksman Sec Ball Saber?
Or wait, I'm just getting all
Wait,
mixed up.
Marksman
No.
Sec Strawberry Saber? Sorry.
Yeah, the cards being reversed up and down of
Yeah,
the
yeah, I know
players
what you
sometimes
mean.
messes with me. Okay, so Dillo is saber spec ball crawl by Arclights. Flower Fairy is marksman spec saber crawler by his Arclights. And is going to go
These,
aggro with these sabers.
these Arclights are very far forward. I think this Arclight's gonna get sniped and maybe cost Dillo the round again, unfortunately.
Yeah. Once again, the Arclight's quite a bit ahead of the balls. This is just how Dillo prefers to deploy. Somewhat greedy and sometimes punished.
Yeah.
As a
If that Arclight was able to clear all these crawlers, it would definitely be looking a lot better for Dillo, but it's just round 1.
Yep.
Oh, and no assassin balls are going to tower. They're all going for that saber.
Yeah, and the saber should get to kill 2 of them before it gets distracted by crawlers.
There's 2 Arclights also to clear the way. That's going to be a dominant round 1 for Flower Fairy, evening up the HP straight away.
Yeah, sometimes saber arc can completely destroy balls on round 1. Like, balls tend to look good against sabers eventually, but round 1, sometimes it's just not enough support for the balls.
Mass-produced Phoenix coming out says, I have the marksman, but mass-produced Phoenix is still too good to give up.
Meanwhile, Dillo actually taking the late game card of the improved melting point. Something we haven't really seen from him.
Maybe thinking about a late defensive transition on the left side.
And Flower Fairy doesn't know about this Fang yet, looking to get a little spicy with the marksman before perhaps selling it next round because of the Phoenixes.
And checking out the marksman text, there is no assault marksman available.
Yeah, was just hoping to one-shot the Arclight, but instead just going to be shooting at Fangs.
I already have the Phoenixes for that, though they don't one-shot it as
yeah,
they're called, cheap Phoenixes.
Well, and the Phoenix doesn't have jump, and he actually wants to keep the Phoenix on the board.
Oh, marksman in front.
Yeah, that
the steel balls
is the issue. That is 5 marksman worth of experience.
That said, where is the anti-air?
Yep, no anti-air. And Phoenixes, even though they cost half as much, they will still do a full damage.
True.
To the player's HP. So
Flower Fairy could be going for extreme tempo with these mass-produced Phoenixes here.
Laser sight for Flower Fairy. Dillo has been going laser sight and taking wraiths a lot in his game so far. Curious if we'll see it again. Could also just see improved firepower on a Mustang.
Oh,
nope, it is laser.
Laser sight. He does have the improved melting point card as well.
Yeah.
Could think about a laser sight, diffraction, improved melter later in the game.
True.
If we can get that far.
Both players putting it on Saber. And
definitely a bit of a temporary home.
Yeah. The Saber, Dillo hoping to lock onto the enemy Saber. I assume he imagines the marksman is gone. But it is a level 2 Saber. It takes a while for level 1 to kill a level 2. I think 5 shots.
How did the steel ball not level up after killing the marksman? Did it somehow like die before the damage went through?
I don't know. Something else must have taken it, because nothing has a level on it.
I mean, that one.
Oh, this one art
that's hiding has a level. Maybe that somehow killed the marksman.
It must have stolen the kill, yeah.
Oh, that's so unlucky. You probably do want those ball levels early in this matchup.
Yeah, the ball levels would allow them to survive at least a level 1 Saber and tank Arclights for much longer. Oh, they will get to choose here.
As well. Yeah, the Phoenix is very good tower timing. Even this level 2 Arclight's gonna kill the Saber on the left.
Yeah, so maybe the level was good. The Wasps, though, going to take out the Phoenix. And again, it is the Wasps from the other side providing the anti-air for Dillo, so Some similarities to this and their first game.
Yeah, buying a lot of time with these wasps, buying a lot of health with the wasps, and now the Mustangs. Oh my goodness, you can have a
Yeah,
lot of different wide
such
units
a
here.
such a rude drop. Yeah, and again, the Mustang's slightly cheaper than the Phantom Rays. Oh, I guess it's because of the unlock cost. That's why the Mustang drop is slightly cheaper than the Wasp or Phantom Ray drop.
That could be. I'm very surprised by the Phantom Ray choice, though, into the Mustangs.
Yeah, is it going to be armor? He sells the Saber from his specialist. So, once again, Saber spec feeling a little bit sad, just being a very delayed $200. Now,
I
laser
was
sight is
thinking,
once again
actually,
free.
about the Badger. The Badger could have been very nice chaff clear in the front line for a multi-melter and a headbutt on the left there. But Dillo going for a very different line here. Ball Phantom Ray comp here.
And
From
once
Dillo.
again, the deep Wraith flank with a laser sight on the Wraith. Of course, Wraith unlock only 50, so it's quite a bit less committal than it used to be to do this.
Dillo's been pretty committed to these Wraith lines in each of his series today.
Yeah, so far, every time he's flanked, he's committed more into that flank. So, Flower Fairy perhaps going to expect that he needs to properly respect this flank.
I imagine so.
He's seen this movie before.
This time, though, the Mustangs are not level 3. That makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and Dillo getting on the board with some pretty decent damage. Actually back in the lead. Redeploy.
Oh, wow.
Snap pick for Dillo. So now he can, if he likes, get out of that flank or get into it even faster.
Look at that value missile that Fire Fairy is going for. It could hit Crawlers, Phantom Rays,
And Wasp.
But there is a redeploy, you never know.
Yeah, Dillo elected to redeploy the Arc Light, the one just in front of the helipad, and put it into the other deep flank. While Flower Fairy commits 2 techs onto the Mustang range and anti-air.
Yeah, the anti-air Mustangs worked out very well against the air-based composition that Dillo showed off in the last game. Armor Balls, though, attempting to get the Mustangs stuck. It might not work if the Mustangs are able to acquire air targets because of the anti-air early enough.
But either way, the armor balls are pretty hard for Flower Fairy to kill. He has some level 1 arcs without charge shot, which would take quite a while. There's just one Saber and a few Mastery's Phoenixes all concentrated on the other side of the map.
That's true. It's very difficult for these balls to die on the right side of the map.
But the Wraiths go down pretty cleanly.
Yeah, most of the Phantom Rays are... or one pack of Phantom Rays got locked very quickly by Mustangs as well.
Very little chaff clear left for Dillo, just one wandering Arc Light. Are some blue crawlers that'll come help, but these balls are just so survivable.
Dillo
Killing a
is
bubble.
basically relying entirely on the Wraiths for chaff clear. And the Wraiths are...
They went down so fast.
By a lot of the units on Fire Fairy's side.
So Dillo kind of in trouble, below 1500. If Flower Fairy has a strong round with a lot of these Mass Phoenixes up, it could be the game.
And Sandworm once again picked by Dillo. Bit of deja vu here. Almost the same comp, just with steel balls this time as the previous game.
Yeah, the players are making pretty consistent choices with what units they like, and we see once again Scorpions from Flower Fairy unlocked, and it is just a Farseer from the drop to cover that other flank. Scorpions should be an excellent answer to armor balls. They take more than one Scorp hit to kill, but they'll do most of the damage, and kind of anything can finish them off that isn't a Mustang.
True. Armor balls may not be nearly as menacing this round compared to the previous round. But we did redeploy that Wraith from the deep flank. It seemed a little bit doomed, and it has the valuable laser sight item. We'll see if it's able to contribute more with the main army, or if it just gets burst down by this Farseer, like, anti-air Mustang combo.
Yeah, all these Mustangs have leveled, so it's very dangerous. They can kill a Wraith quite quickly. And we once again see a bubble from Flower Fairy, just a little extra protection for some of that chaff.
Yeah, Flower Fairy loaning as well. Definitely thinking about ending the game quickly here.
Yeah, lone and temp range. The goal is to win here for Flower Fairy. All of the Mass Phoenixes looking pretty lively. They're just out in front, but nothing that can shoot them is alive, and that is going to be enough. So Flower Fairy, pretty clean, dominant showing in that game. Raises the bounty up to 4, moves on to the top 8, or is it? It's 8, right? Yeah, top 8. And we'll be seeing some Flower Fairy next week.
Indeed. So, those are all the games for today. Congratulations to Flower Fairy and Fang Fang for advancing to the round of 8. The round of 8 is going to be next week.